got it lined up pretty well, but I think Steve was making a list, but I've got it from the top. So let's send it. Let's see. Oh, we got a good 10 minutes of the pre-net. Let me just do a quick check. Frank, is it W3 SDR or is it W1 SDR?
Well, it's W2 SDR. I used to bracket it in there. Yeah, it used to be WA3 JBT, and it's 2 SDR, Joe. Over. You left out WY3D there, Frank. That's yet another era. That's right.
Well, there you go. Okay. Geez, I was wrong on both accounts, but I've got it now. All right, I'll try to burn that in. I wrote one because I was still kind of a little bit foggy from sipping coffee, and then I remember it was your JBT call was a 3. But now I've got it straightened out. Let's see if we can keep it that way. Let's flip it over to Jim. WA2MER, and then I guess you could send it to Bob, W1GTH, and we'll see how close we are to call up at that point. How are you this morning, Jim? WA2MER. This is N1VIV.
WX10.
Yeah, very good. That's the group, WX10. And everybody else in the group, this is WA2MER. Very good morning. There are not enough degrees out here to satisfy me. I think it's 23 right now in Vernon. And I'm not liking this at all, but what are you going to do? Anyway, doing well. And Gary, I'm not crazy actually. Well, maybe I am. I intended to retire at the end of this year, and I said, the other job wasn't working out too well. So I figured, well, I'll just go into kind of semi-retirement. But another opportunity came along, and despite the fact that I have to go to Boston every week, I really enjoy it. I'm really liking the job, liking the people, and who knows? So we'll see. And it's always nice to have money come in. You look at the bank statement. Oh, gee, I know where that came from. So I'm enjoying it yet. So probably continue to do that for a while. So with that, pretty good pre-net size here. So I'm going to pass it over to Bob, and then I guess Bruce is in there too. But good morning, Bob. W1GTH. This is WA2MER.
WA2MER and the AM group, pre-net group here, and it's W1GTH, Bob in Walcott, Connecticut, and good morning all. Just still running around here, feeding my face here a little bit, but we've been getting quite a group in here, so thought I'd get in here and secure a position anyhow, because I usually need to leave a little bit early, but yeah, okay, it's looks like a bright sunshiny day out there, and I got down there a little bit last night, but not all that bad, and I've had some rain, which I never complain about because I have a well, and there are times when I've had a problem, so we'll welcome all we can get here. So anyhow, I'm going to have to go. I got a call on the Twisted Pair there, so I'll be back. Turn it back to you, Joe, N1VIV.
Yeah, okay, Bob. Heard the ringing there, so somebody's reaching out to you on the Twisted Pair. Excellent. You're sounding great here this morning, Bob, W1GTH. Checking the phone here. Everything looks pretty copacetic. I've got about 7 minutes here. 6 minutes till net time. So let's send it down to Bruce on the eastern shore of Maryland and see how things are going down there. WX10 and the AM carrier pre-net, N1VIV.
Good morning, Bud. I heard you. And good morning, Joe. Is it morning yet? I guess. Got up a little late this morning. We had dinner at a friend's house last night, and they wanted to show us a movie. My wife and I rarely see movies, so they had a DVD of something called Black Panther. And they couldn't get their DVD going. So I said, well, I have a real TV with a CRT and a DVD player built in. So we came over here and it worked. So I guess we need a vintage TV net. Anyway, good morning, and I'll turn it back to net, and I heard Bud in there. N1VIV, WX10.
Yeah, okay, Bruce. WX10. This is N1VIV. Well, a little bit of throwback technology, but I guess whatever gets the job done. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I remember some of those integrated units. The classic one I remember was we had this little TV. Gosh, I remember. It was a long time ago. I remember we bought this little television when we were looking to have a television that was kind of just like right off the kitchen, so to speak, so that you could watch the news while you were cooking dinner, kind of thing. But it had a little VHS player built into it, and sometimes you'd pop a little VHS tape in there for the kiddies, and they'd be able to watch something on it as well. But those integrated units are long since gone away. But I think that was we bought that in like 2003, and it's still sitting there. Still works. It's amazing how things some things hold up and some things don't. That's for sure. Well, we've got time to flip it over to Bud for sure, because we've got about 3 minutes here till net time, and already quite a nice turnout. So let's send it up to Boston, see what's happening up there. K1LC in the AM Carrier Prenet. This is N1VIV.
Okay, Joe, very good. N1VIV, K1LC. Seem to have high levels here, just QRX a second. Okay, that's a little better, I guess. Yeah, something's different. I don't know what it is, but I think the SWR is low, so that's the main thing. Yeah, it's 22 degrees here, 15 miles southeast of Boston, and looks like it's going to be a nice day. Sun's out, and even tomorrow's going to be better. What I've heard, it's going to warm up into the 50s. Unusual for February. I've only heard Joe, and Bruce.
Sounds like a DIY trip. He may have bought fuzz, as they say.
Yeah, hopefully that's as simple as a little reset button. Well, I'm trying to think with Bub's flash up there, but I don't know if it's DIY. But I'm sure it's got to be some protection circuit that's, keeping him protected. Let's see if you're back there, Bud. K1LC. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, I'm back. I believe. Yeah, the fault. Something high current took the fault circuit and cut out the transmitter. I'm going to take a look here. I'll stand by for the net and see if I have something misadjusted. Wouldn't be unusual. Back to you, Joe. N1VIV, K1LC.
Yeah, okay, very good, Bud. K1LC. This is N1VIV. Shockingly, I'm almost 3/4 of the way through my first cup of coffee. And I'm fairly awake as we come right up to the top of the hour. So look at this, perfect timing. Thanks, Bud. We'll launch here. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the AM Carrier Net. My name is Joe. My call is N1VIV, and I'm located in Stonington, Connecticut. AM Carrier Net meets every Sunday morning here at 8 a.m. local time on 3835 on the 75-meter band. It's a casual net, so there's no requirement for check-in, just being able to operate in the AM mode. Over the past couple of weeks, we've looked at kind of trimming and slimming our introductory comments, so hopefully that's beneficial to everybody getting in here in a timely fashion. So we've got a lot of pre-net check-ins that I've tracked since I started talking back, maybe 15 or 18 minutes ago with Frank, W2 SDR. So we've got that covered all the way up to Bud K1LC. So I basically have been here, and I suppose there's a chance somebody checked in that I didn't hear, but I think we're okay. So let's take check-ins. No call district designation. Any stations anywhere for the AM carrier net, please call now. This is N1VIV.
Good morning.
Okay, good morning, Bill, KD1SH up there in Connecticut. I heard another signal in there as I dropped my carrier, but I'm not sure if that was a check-in, so let's give another listen. Any stations anywhere for the net, please call now. All right, well, nothing else heard. We had such a organized and orderly flow to the pre-net that most of the heavy lifting's been accomplished. So look at that. That's great. I will invite, as I had overlooked mentioning at 7, if anybody requires getting out of here early and you'd like me to float you to the top, I'm happy to do that. Any stations needing to get floated to the top, let me know now. Okay, a little extraneous racket in there, at least from where I sit. But no trouble. Let's give another listen just in case any other stations anywhere wishing to check into the net, please call now.
KV2N, QN, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Steve. Nice to hear you from Roslyn. Very good. Well, I guess Jeff's conspicuously absent. I guess Andy is a bit absent as well. But maybe they'll join us as we go along. I know those guys had been at Limemark last week, but hopefully all is well in their worlds, and hopefully either they'll join us today or maybe at a later date. So let's give it another check just in case. Any other stations anywhere for the net, please call now. Okay, nothing else heard. And I did not hear anybody respond to my call for needing to get floated to the top, so I think we're good in that respect. So I will run down the list. Of course, we'll continue to listen for check-ins. If anybody's just getting themselves together at the switch, don't hesitate. Jump in, and we will work you in as we go. But here's the rundown for round 1, and then I'll make some comments and we'll launch this. So I'll get going with some comments, and then I'm going to send it over to W2 SDR, Frank. W2 SDR would send it to W3 MMR. W3 MMR would send it to Greg, KE1MI. KE1MI would send it to Steve, K2FW. K2FW would send it to Gary, K1IC. K1IC would send it to Al, W1VTP. W1VTP would send it to Jim, WA2MER. And WA2MER would send it to W1GTH. Bob there in Walcott. W1GTH would send it down to Bruce. WX10. And WX10 would send it to K1 Lima Charlie. K1LC would send it to Bill, KD1SH. And KD1SH would send it down to Steve, KB2NQN. Steve, if there's other check-ins, we're going to tack them in after you, and if not, it'll come back up to the top of the list to me, and we'll take a crack at round 2. If folks could let me know if you're planning to stay for round 2, that might help me manage anybody who might be staying for round 2. We've got a nice turnout here so far. So, let's see, a few quick comments. So, I know over the last week, and I'll mention it again this week, I'm absolutely seeking and interested in anybody who might be available to help support net control management of the net and net control duties. There's a couple of weeks of the month where I am need to leave a little bit earlier than maybe I would want to, and certainly if folks were in a position where maybe I got the net started and I was able to hand it off to somebody at 9:15, that would certainly be helpful. I guess the only requirement would be kind of taking a tracking list or tracking the list from the top of the net, and then keeping track of who's staying and going for round 2, that type of thing, and then kind of taking it to the finish line on those weeks where there's a heavy turnout. I kind of, just to let folks know, today I do not have a requirement, or I'm not planning to leave early today, so I'll be here for the duration. But it's likely next week that I would need to leave. So then I'm also very open to folks if they're interested in taking the net on certain weeks of the month or something of that nature. Certainly open to that as well. If you're interested in any of that, don't hesitate. My email is GoodOnQRZ, and you can email me at my email, which is GoodOnQRZ, and we can have a conversation. If you want to stay after the net today to talk or plan, happy to do that as well. So, just running the homebrew rig here this morning, and the HQ110. Everybody's sounding great here. Signals are good, and we're at 8 minutes after, so that was my goal exactly, is to launch by 8:08. So, here we go. I heard folks mentioning topics on the weather. Boy, I'll tell you, it's snowless winter here. And I think we're probably going to see some action in that regard. But the good news is anything that comes won't stay for long. And I did hear temperatures up into the 50s or 60s again, or something crazy this week. So, you know, it's very unusual. Things are changing. And I guess we'll have to go with whatever change comes, for better or for worse. And on the list we go. Over to you, Frank. W2, SDR. I'm sorry with that. This is when we're in the VRV.
All right, Joe. M1VIV. In the AM carrier net, W2SDR. Frank here, for anyone that doesn't know. I'm located in Salem County, New Jersey, southern New Jersey. And running an FT101E. That I've had since it was new, and driving an Ameritron AL82 amplifier at about 240 watts or so of carrier this morning into a half-wave dipole antenna. Temperature here, 32 degrees. 32. And, well, I wish we did have snow. I enjoy snow, especially now that I'm retired. For years, I was responsible for snow removal at one of my jobs, and which made it a pain in the neck when it snowed, but I would have enjoyed snow this year. Being retired, and I enjoy a cold winter, because I don't like to do lawn work. I don't like to cut the grass. I don't like to do any of that. and it's already starting to turn green, which means tractors and what have you on my 6+ acres here. Actually, I saw some robins yesterday, which I guess that's a sign of spring, right? When you start seeing robins, and I saw a bunch of them out in the backyard yesterday trying to find worms or whatever they look for out there. And let me see, the virus. How about the coronavirus, huh? I volunteer one day a week at a local hospital in the emergency room, and we have people coming in here with flu symptoms all the time, and I'm just wondering how that's going to affect my job, because I clean those exam rooms and restock the exam rooms when the patients get admitted and when they get discharged. So I'm kind of a little bit on the leery side. So just got to keep washing your hands and keep your hands away from your face, they say. So. And I want to say good morning, of course, to Net Control Joe. Real quickly, Perry, good morning to you once again. Perry and I were on with Henry N4 EDQ early this morning, about 4 something. And good morning to Greg, Steve, of course, FW, Jim, Bruce, Al, VTP. Wake up and drink that coffee, Al. Gary, of course, Bob, Bud, Bill, and Steve. So, I'll be around for a second round also here this morning, Joe. W3MMR to pick it up. My son in the Keystone State of Pennsylvania.
W2SDR and the old, well, not the old, the AM carrier net. Go ahead, Perry.
Yeah, W2SDR. Excuse me, the AM carrier net. This is W3MMR. Yep, not the old military radio net this morning, the old AM carrier net. Well, good morning, everyone. Great signals out of everyone. I'll go ahead and do my normal signal reports for everyone. Joe, you're 20 over this morning. Pop, you're 30 over. Greg, KE1MI, you are 20 over S9. Steve, you're 30 over. Gary, you are 20 over. Al and Rosie, you guys are 30 over S9. Jim, you're 15 over. Bob, 10 over S9. Bruce, 25 over. Bud, 20 over. Bill, 20 over. And Steve, you are 10 over S9. So really good conditions here this morning for the net. We got 28 degrees here this morning. I was warming up. It was 21 right before the sun came up. So starting to get warm, and we're just on the SDR this morning on the Apache Labs and on 200D. Driving an AL80B and about 150 watts of carrier. And using a homebrew balanced Dell network tuner into a 600 ohm ladder line fed 80 meter doublet up about 65 feet. So those are the operating conditions this morning. And yeah, Steve, the Flyers are really playing some good hockey, at the moment. So hopefully they can ride this hot streak into the playoffs here and really kind of make a run at it. And the one good thing about the Flyers, they get down by a goal, you can never count them out. Down by 2 goals, 3 goals, it doesn't matter. They always seem to keep scratching and clawing their way back to try to get that W. Against the Rangers the other night, they went down 1-0 within the first few minutes of the game and ended up winning 5-1. So just shows you what a good head coach can do and a good attitude in the locker room. And real good on heading over to the practices there. Yeah, I wish I could make it, but I got work, so. But maybe one day we can get over to Voorhees and check out a Flyers practice. That would be pretty fun. And I also enjoy the snow in the wintertime. I look at it like this. If it's going to be cold, I want it to snow. But if it's not going to be cold, or excuse me, if it's not going to snow, I would rather it be spring and be warm. Because I just don't know, for some reason, I don't like going out in the sun's, nice and bright, but then you get that real cutting wind, and it just chills you right down to the bone. And this year there's been a lot of 40-degree days and rain. So it's been, that real wet, damp, to the bone type of moist cold. And I work on cars for a living, and having to pull cars in, and you're underneath the cars and they're dripping on you all day, and they just always seem to drip in the worst spots, right in your eye, or right down the back of your shirt, or something like that. So we're ready for springtime now that baseball started up, and the Phillies spring training has started. We've been watching a lot of baseball and following the Phillies and getting ready for opening day coming in a little less than a month here. So I'll be one and done here this morning, Joe. Thank you for running the net as always. You do a great job, and the home brew rig is sounding fantastic this morning. So with that being said, I'll send it up to you, Greg, with a good signal coming out of Vermont this morning. And yeah, I guess you guys in Vermont get a lot more snow and cold up there than we do here in southeastern Pennsylvania, that's for sure. So 7-3 guys, have a great day. Great hearing you guys, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you guys next week. KE1MI in the AM carrier net from W3MMR.
Yeah, okay, 3MMR. And the AM carrier net, KE1MI. Good morning, everybody. Greg up here in Vermont. For those that don't know, on the Kenwood this morning, driving the Dentron into the 80-meter sample car where it's about 60 feet in the air. It's nothing special, but they're working on that. Good morning again, everybody. It's a beautiful day here shaping up right now. It's a little cold. Last I looked, it was like 12 degrees, but it's supposed to get up in the mid-20s today, and at least the sun will be out. Yeah, we're looking for a midweek warm-up with 40s and some rain. Rain is good, rain makes snow makes mud starts to warm things up, and the rabbits here yet. If they show up, they got nowhere to get anything. It's still pretty white here, so it will remain so at least for a few more weeks. I am sure that we can get some of the biggest amounts of snow in March. We get those coastal storms or something. Snow in here. A foot, 2 foot, it happens in March. If we can get something, then we're on the downhill slide. Spring never really comes here till May. I don't see crocuses or daffodils or anything until late April, early May before they show up. So my uncle always said we get 6 months of winter and 6 months of damn poor sledding up here, and that's about what we get. Good signals, everybody's, 10, 20 over S9, even on the receiver. It's just beautiful signals. Nice band conditions this morning. And I don't have a whole lot to add other than it's just good to be in here this morning and get some stuff I'm going to do today. I don't know what yet. I've got a few things I know I need to do, but one of them deals. Good to hear Al's back in there. I've been, from yesterday, and good things on the man. I hope it's feeling better. That's about all I've got. I'll be here for another round, Joe. Listen out. I don't have a whole lot of huge plans, but listen out for everybody else's comments. So, good morning again, everybody. Over to you, Mr. Crazy Legend. Pick it up, Steve. K2FW from KE1MI. Over.
Yeah, real good. Let me just pick this up here a little bit. Alrighty. Yeah, very good, Greg. And this is K2FW in the AM carrier net. And morning to everyone. Yeah, Frank, I think this is now, what did we just go past, Joe? 16 years. 16 years for the AM carrier net. So obviously there's Mets have been around for a lot longer than that, but boy, it's hard to believe it's been 16 years since this net got started here on 3835. So it's pretty amazing, and time sure flips away rather quickly. So good morning to everyone. Just a couple of comments here. Next Sunday we will be an hour, or not an hour, because we'll lose about 5 or 6 minutes this week, but we'll pick up about 55 minutes of darkness. I believe next Saturday going into Sunday is daylight savings time. That's a real true indicator of spring is not far away. So we'll pick up some more darkness here in the morning, which I guess will to some extent help propagation, although propagation here is pretty good today. I could see a difference in Greg's signal now compared to Greg's signal in the pre-net. It was much stronger in the pre-net, about 5 to 10 dB stronger. He has dropped down a little bit, which is an indication that we're starting to lose some of the longer propagation as the sun continues to rise here. So I just wanted to mention that. Steve NQN, not quite normal Steve here in Roslyn. We're sorry for beating you guys up. I guess you're battered and bruised a little bit from Friday's hockey game, and but you do get a chance to for revenge today at noontime. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Kind of a strange time for a game, and yeah, Perry, be neat if you can make it over to Voorhees one of these days. They'll be having another practice on Tuesday. Tuesday will be another practice, probably around 11:30. But I know you're really busy, working and whatnot. But maybe one of these days you can find your way to make it over there. I'm sure you would enjoy it. So it's a lot of fun, and the best part, it's free. So can't beat that. Bruce had mentioned an old television with CRTs back when in my much younger days. I used to work on TVs, come to the home and fix them. I worked for an electronic corporation, and it's been a long time since I've seen a TV with a CRT, cathode ray tube, in it. I guess I seriously doubt they're even made any longer. So that would be interesting if anybody happens to know. There's obviously tubes that are still made, but I don't know picture tubes. CRTs are still manufactured, even in China. So I don't think they are any longer. I do have a rejuvenator here that used to work pretty well. It would strip some of the carbon off the cathode. It would bring up the emission of some of the CRTs, but other than that, I don't think there's much you can do with cathode ray tubes any longer. So yeah, as far as the weather goes, after today, we're looking at 50s and 60s for highs pretty much every day, right on through the next 2 weeks here. So. No chance of snow here. It's going to end up being a snowless winter, and I understand some of the guys' sentiments on snow. I guess I don't mind a little dusting or something like that. I just don't like large amounts where it kind of shuts down life for a day or two. I don't enjoy that. So it keeps people from going where they really want to go. A little dusting or something like that, I'm all for. And Frank had mentioned the robins. Yeah, we saw a lot of them here. But the snowbirds are still around too, although I think they're going to be leaving pretty soon. I think I saw a couple snowbirds with portable air conditioners. Hi. And Jim, MER, real quick, wonder how you're making out with the amp, how you coming along with that. I think you're going to put in Ford Ash 400s. Wonder how that's coming along. Anyway, that's about it from here. Yep, I'm still on frequency. So I'm kind of buzzarding on, so let me get it over to Gary. And we'll be listening out through the entire first round here on the old 75A4. K1 India Charlie in the AM carrier net from K2 Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Quick adjustments here. Didn't get to do that before. Okay, so K2 Fuzzy Wuzzy in the AM carrier net, K1IC, good morning. All I can say, Steve, be careful what you wish for. Global warming might not be what you want when it really starts to give in to what they see in Australia. Fires, tornadoes, high energy in the atmosphere because of the higher temperature. Don't think you want that. And you'll be seeing tornadoes in New Jersey that you haven't seen, especially down there in Blue Anchor where it's flat. And it can wipe out everything. So, you just want to say maybe global warming isn't what you want. I can understand not wanting to shovel snow. That's fine. But other than that, you might want to be a little careful about what you're wishing for. Otherwise, things are fine here. One more week before spring break. I'm going off to Florida on the 7th of March, and we'll be back a week later on Saturday. So that'll be interesting to try that out. What else? We had the heating problem here yesterday. It made its presence known on Friday night when the front of the house was 72 and the back of the house was 52. So I had to think about what it was doing. I think it turned out to be a damper stuck, and once I pulled the damper out, found that it got working again. Everything stabilized again to proper temperature, so that's a good thing. But it was a little frightening because when you're in the dead of winter and need the heat and you're having trouble with your heating system, it usually means a call to the plumber and a heating HVAC guy, and that usually runs into money, as they say. So that was one of the problems. We went to breakfast yesterday with the hams and then to the club, so everything's fine there. Making slow progress, Steve, on the Tribune to Senator approach. A lot of dupes. Apparently, the people that are out there are all the people I've worked already, and I'm going to have to go to some event in order to be able to get new stations because the rest of the folks just aren't there. Very hard to find a new station that qualifies these days. A lot of duping, which is still good, but it's just going to drag it out some more. There was Sprint on the 7th of March, but I won't be around, so I can't do that. It'll be a while yet, but that's okay. There's no rush. Still enjoying playing around with it. Not much else to tell you at this point, so Joe, I won't be around for a second. I don't have anything to tell. I'll be listening through to the end and can comment if somebody needs has a comment. But other than that, everything is good. So I pass it off to Al up there in Manchester. W1BTP, here is K1IC.
Yeah, okay. W1BTP here, and I'm trying to think about in the middle of the listing, so you have something to talk about. Well, let's see. Yep, feeling fit as a fiddle, Greg, as they say. I had a medical issue, guys. So I ended up being the guest of a local hotel hospital for an overnight observation, but turned out everything was okay. So we none of us know what in the world happened. It was alarming at the time, but turned out to be fine. Okay, so that's out of the way. That was a Friday overnight thing. I've got notes here that I can't even read. Okay, Frank, on the L82. I have one here that I use, and what a beast. I have all kinds of instrumentation here, and I've actually measured the flat. There's no flat topping on mine, and it's I don't run it there. I want to keep it down to 1,500 or less. But, it's nice to know it's there. which means lower interlocks. Actually, you get a 2,000 watt amplifier and run it at left hand. The interlocks go down. That's a good thing. And Gary, thanks for the signal report. Appreciate that. If you look at sound experience as far as amplifiers go, I would recommend doing it 2 amps as opposed to the solid state, because you have the experience. 2 amps do have the safety factor built in. And for the lower left floor, I couldn't recommend a better amplifier. I think you lose. Just a thought. And I still have one of those combo TVs. The last time I knew it was small, it's a 14-inch size, and 15-inch maybe. It's been sitting out on the porch for a long time. You want everything. It's got the remote and the whole 9 yards. And so last time I knew it played, probably now it doesn't. On the snow, I don't like cement. We've had 2 years of cement storm. I would much prefer, I'm a Vermonter, and I can remember the days where all the 2-foot snowfalls were not uncommon. But you shovel that stuff, you know, it's doesn't have a backbreaker or doesn't bring on the big H or any of that stuff. Really nice snowball, so not a problem. There's much more than 2 feet of snow gets to be like a placement problem. You should try to unbury you. You're not trying to place the perfect stuff. Other than that, I don't mind the old-fashioned moving of the storms. Sure, global warming. I mean, that resolved, it would result in severe weather, as somebody already indicated, and flooding of the coastal cities. That's the one that you needed a couple of inches of ocean rise, and that's rather grim, especially in Florida. They predicted in August, and a lot of Florida goes into water. So that's my comment for this round. I'll be around for a second. Everything looks normal here as far as the station is concerned. I haven't seen problems. And okay, Joe, on your initial comments. Well, I hate to work you to death, but we're happy with you. If you have to go somewhere, you should probably line up the sub. On our sideband nets, I run the Vermont net, and then participate in the Green Mountain net. We just have a bunch of substitutes. So we just call on somebody and say, would you mind calling in here for us, blah, blah, blah. Or they, exchange. Of course, that doesn't work here. But I imagine just having an official list of subs might help a little bit, take the strain off and things. So that's it for this round. And Jim, I need pictures. Give me some pictures. I want pictures of that, the beast. I'm going to call it the beast that you're building. It sounds intriguing. And we're going to, of course, we're going to try to stay with the. They have a 500-watt amplifier, and it's kind of a problem but it's a classic. If you keep it pushing very well into the design, the mechanical design of the thing, that just wondering if you were going to try to emulate that. You got to keep input and the output, so if I don't click on that, so of course you don't have, and that's all the way to that. That would be a good picture. Thanks very much. Okay, over to WA2NER, the guy that's building the beast, W1VTP.
Yeah, very good, Al. W1VTP, carrier net. This is WA2NER, standby one. Okay, everything picked up where it belongs. Well, running the Millen rig this morning. Single 107 to the Millen modulator, modulated by a pair of 6146s. And to get some power out of this phone, I'm running my Drake L7. Got about 150 watts this morning. going out of the amplifier into the antenna. SX28 serving as my receiver again. I think I'm going to put the ICO back on the air. I'm never going to have to change a couple of cables around. I'm kind of lazy to stick with it but haven't had the ICO on in a few weeks, so maybe next week I'll be on that. That's the station we're running tomorrow. And excuse me. Everybody's got really good signal propagation. Is very, very nice. And the weather is, as I mentioned earlier on the pre-net, it is and it snow's really pretty to look at. Even when I do retire, the only snow that's good is the snow I don't have to go out and blow. Right? I mean, it's one thing not have to drive in it, but I still have to clear the driveway, and I still have to clear the walkway and all that. And my wife and I go out and do that. I don't want it. So, anyway, Frank, nice to hear you again, W2FDR. It's been a while since I've heard you on the air. You sound good, and it's nice to have the full set, you and Bo, on this morning. I'm really not going to give anybody a signal report. The SX28 estimator, even when you set it according to the manual, I did a full alignment on this thing back when I rebuilt it, and the manual says, you remove all inputs and you zero the meter. So the most, I don't know, I can't remember the last time anybody's hit S9, but this thing really flaps up. It's a wonderful receiver. So anybody, really strong except Steve NQN. He's a little bit on the weaker side, but 100% copies. So that worked out well. So, and Perry, I don't envy you in your line of work this time of year as you're describing what it's like. I have a 64 Buick that I work on in my garage, and even though I'm not, getting dripped on and all that, when it comes winter, like I was just working on it yesterday again, it's like, it can't be fun. So hats off to you for having to deal with that thing. But the Buick is ready now for a road trip. I'm going to be taking to to South Bend, Indiana, and to Auburn, Indiana, Farmview, sometime in the summer. Had a carburetor problem. I fixed that last week. Excuse me. Had a couple of minor cooling system leaks through the hose yesterday. I put in a dual circuit brake system and master cylinder, new brake booster, the whole 9 yards. Just over the last several months, and that's kind of the last thing I had to do to it. So it's ready to go, and looking forward to getting that thing on the air. And with respect to the transmitter build, nothing's built yet. I've started. I've drilled some meter holes. Hole saw. I finally decided how I want to lay out the parts. I have one more Mouser order for a couple of heavy-duty switches, but I've been wiring the cabinet for the 120 and 240 volt inputs. There's going to be 2 feeds to it because just the way I have my 120, just by the way the 220 comes into the outlet here, I don't have a neutral, so I'm going to have separate 110 and 220 feeds coming in. But I've been kind of, I don't want to say struggling, but I've been vacillating on the physical layout of the high voltage power supply and the switching and control relay circuits, which I finally finalized. So once that Mouser order comes in, I will have all the parts I need to build the entire transmitter, except for the 4-250A, which is going to be my final. I do have the 810s, so yeah, I can send you pictures, Al, but it's just going to be piles of parts and a panel with some holes in it. So we'll wait on that. And things are probably going to clear up a little bit for the summer as my thrust and beads turn to outside. So I'm hoping to have it on the air by the end of the year. That's kind of my goal. Kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment for you, Gary. Aren't you a little old for spring break, going down to Florida for spring break? I thought college kids do that, but maybe that's why you're doing that. So hats off to you. Have fun. And have fun down there. And Al, sorry to hear about your medical issue. I have a condition. I'm not going to bore everybody with the details, but I have a minor benign heart issue that we've known about for 25 years, and it's benign. It doesn't, But anyway, my physician about a month ago said, this is sounding a little different. So out of an abundance of caution, he sent me to the doctors at Columbia Presbyterian, and they did every heart test, nuclear stress. I mean, they did the whole 9 yards, and they came back, you're fine. Heart's normal, everything's fine, don't worry about it. Okay. Now I have no excuse anymore not to exercise that my wife's been trying to get me to do, so that's what I'll do. CRTs, old TV sets. My dad used to work for Allen B. Dumont Labs. He was assistant service manager at the factory in New Jersey, Clifton and Memphis Bake and so on. And I kind of grew up with old TV sets and CRTs. And yeah, I don't know if you got one of those old sets, what you're going to do if your CRT blows up or craps out, other than maybe a rejuvenation. And I had a rejuvenator also, Steve, a Sencor, because my dad used to do TV repair on the side as well, make a few extra bucks, and I used to go with him every Saturday morning on his rounds, and I learned how to repair televisions, and I did it for years to make some extra money, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I remember those days when, gee, the blue gun's a little weak, give it a shot, and get a couple of bucks for that. That Sencor paid off pretty quickly. Compared to the cost of even a rebuilt color CRT in those days, today we probably have enough money in our wallets to get a rebuilt CRT. What it used to cost back then, but adjusting for inflation, it was pretty hefty. So that's it. That's it for me today. I'll say 73, one round only as usual, and I will pass it to Bob. Pick it up, W1GTH. This is WA2MER. Have a good week, guys.
And 1ALF. Good morning, Rob. N1ALF. Let's get you in here. Okay. Good morning, Rob. N1ALF. We've got it. So let's see, Steve, KB2NQN. You're going to send it to N1ALF, and then Rob, if there's anybody else checking in, we're going to track them in after you. If not, it'll come back up to the top of the list to me. So, here we go. Let's see. Over to Bob. W1GT and the AM carrier net. N1VIV.
N1VIV and the hang on a minute. Excuse me. And the AM carrier net. This is W1GTH Bob in Walcott in Nut State, and good morning all, and interesting conversations this morning, and I'm getting a little QSB, which is kind of normal for me here on the old BC348, running the ART13 transmitter, putting out probably, if you can believe the old Heathkit watt meter, probably 110 watts, or I would give that plus or minus 10 watts, but anyhow, yeah, so as far as the CRTs go, I'm sure, I know my friend Al, W1VTP, he remembers when there was test patterns on there, and the test pattern, they would put on at I believe it was midnight, and there was no TV after midnight. They just shut it right off. So I don't know how many, maybe some of you guys can remember that, but I remember that vividly, and because I'm 83 years old, so I go back a little bit, and the big thing back then was boxing, or they had wrestling, which was I don't know if Al remembers. They had a fellow on there they called Man Mountain Dean, and I don't know, he was about 350 pounds or so, and he was the king of the wrestling world back then. So they still have wrestling. It's gotten quite a bit more athletic now, I guess. I don't know. I don't watch that. There's some people actually believe that that's real, but whatever. So anyhow, yeah. So I picked up a 2-meter Heathkit, Heathkit Kenwood TS700 SP. Probably 2 years ago up at a Massachusetts Hamfest, and the thing never worked, and so I got fortunate enough to bring it down last Saturday to, not yesterday, but last Saturday down to our, actually we hang around in the radio repair shop down there, and some of the more knowledgeable guys got it running for me, and so that's great. It's a nice set. It's a heavy set, and it'll run off of, believe it or not, I guess you could put it mobile, because it'll run off of either 120 or 12 volts DC, and So that's working. It only puts out about 10 watts, but I have about 160 watt amplifier here, and with 25 watts drive, that'll put out 160 watts. But with 10 watts, I'm figuring probably at least over 100 watts. So it should work out real good for me. But that's the hope anyway. Our Southington Amateur Radio Hamfest is going to be on the 29th, which is a Sunday, 29th of this month, and Sunday, and would hope to see a few of you guys down there. I think that a couple of guys, I don't know who it was, but KB1 MMI or I'm not sure. KB1 ISH, I believe, said that he was going down there, so maybe we'll do a face-to-face. That would be nice. And so, as far as the weather goes, it's been a good winter for squirrels. I'm surrounded by oak trees, and last year was a banner year for acorns, and they were just all over the place. The acorns and the shucks, but the squirrels have been having a ball out there because there's no snow to cover up the acorns, and so they're out there digging to their heart's content. And I believe they just had a little mating season here a couple of weeks ago, and so they're out there building nests now, and they're happy. They're all set. Anyhow, that's probably going to be it for me. I'm only going to be in here for one round, which is par for the course for me, but good hearing everybody on. As far as the global warming goes, I think the real issue is, as far as I'm concerned, is that is it man-made or is it natural? I mean, this whole continent was covered in ice, millions of years ago, so it's been going up and down, and all of the experts disagree on the issue. So it is what it is. But at 83, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about it too much. So. Anyhow, let me see. I believe I'm supposed to turn it back over to WX10. And Bruce, this is W1GTH 730. I'll catch you next week.
Okay, Bob. Thank you very much. Good signals all around. I am using an SDR remote receiver, WA1QIX, to hear the distant stations, but some of the stations that are closer to me, I can hear quite well. Those in like Frank and Perry and Steve and MER, Jim. So a couple of comments. Al, great to hear your voice. You were acknowledged yesterday on the Lonely Guys, which was alarming, but I'm glad that you're back on the air. Those things can be scary, and I hope you will have it figured out. Terry, thank you for the signal report. It's very nice of you to do that for everyone. Good signal here. I'm running a Valiant. I'm listening to everyone this morning on Hammerland HQ 129X when I can hear them. Otherwise, I'll switch over to the computer and listen on the SDR receivers. And Frank, yes, we had robins here. We're south of you guys. We're down in a town called Princess Anne, Maryland, which is 8 to 10 miles south of Salisbury, Maryland. So we're a good distance farther south yet, probably 100 miles south of Steve Fuzzy Wuzzy, I suppose. But we've had robins here for about a week now, and when they first arrived, they came in hundreds. Came out there, and they were all looking for seeds or something in the ground, and so they've been here for a while. Let's see, K2FW mentioned that CRT TVs are not much around anymore. Well, we've got a lot of them here. They're usually found along the curb, although I didn't find mine along the curb. Mine was passed down to me by a daughter at the time, probably 15 maybe more years ago. So it's what we have. It takes up a lot of room, but it seems to work. On the other hand, we've been warned. We get very few stations, but we've been warned that we need to rescan in the middle of March because apparently they're shifting signals again. Unfortunately, our remote doesn't work, so I'm not sure how we're going to rescan, and that might be the death knell of the TV. We live in an old house here. Everything here is old, including us. Our house was built 168 years ago, and we are subject to this malady called rising damp. It's what happens when historic homes were built in damp areas using bricks as foundations. And what happens is the porous bricks wick moisture from the soil upward, like through capillary action, and it destroys plaster. So it has destroyed the plaster around the surrounds of our fireplaces. So I've been busy changing the surrounds on the fireplaces. One is complete. We replaced it with granite. It's gorgeous. It works very nicely. I'm in the middle now of the second and final fireplace surround. Yesterday was a tough day. I built a tent out of drop cloths around the front of the fireplace in the room, and I ended up having to remove a lot of plaster, very nasty stuff, and grinding brick to make it flat to receive the final materials. But today I took another step forward on that. So that saying, I won't be here only one round, but I'll listen through the rest of the transmission. And it's time to send it up to Bill. Bud. I'm sorry, Bud. I can't read my own notes. K1LC from WX10. Go ahead.
Okay. WX10. K1LC. Let me just double check to make sure I have it. Okay, very good, Bruce. Your signal kind of dropped down towards the end. Must be the daytime conditions setting in. Maybe things will improve in March when we switch back to time. Anyway, running the normal Class D rig, which is acting up earlier this morning. I'm not quite sure why. 180 watts into a full-wave loop and receiving on the Flex 1500. I'll look into that, see if I can get it to do it again and find out what the cause was. Anyway, good to hear the Al's out of the hospital there, hotel, and back home in business. So that's good. No one wants to be in that situation. Yeah, the robins and birds and squirrels, it's been very warm here. Second warmest winter on record, according to what the weather people I heard last night. The first goes back, I can't remember, it's either the 60s or 30s, 1960s or 30s. That was the warmest on record. So, but yeah, it's been very warm, and the squirrels are fat, and the birds are also doing a good job here. Lots of birds. Put out bird seed and breadcrumbs. Keeps them happy. I can't help but think we're going to get hit in March with some real weather. But as was in 1978, when you had the blizzard of '78, we had, I think it was over 4 feet of snow, and the roads were shut down here. And the only way you could get around is with a sled, pulling the sled to the store to get food and to bring it back. So hopefully we won't have to do that again this year. Hopefully it'll gradually warm up and we'll be into spring. I like the springtime, I think, the best of any time of year. And, but you never know what Mother Nature has planned for us. Project-wise, I've got a couple projects on the bench. The antenna analyzer kit. I'm kind of disappointed with it from the RLT guys. Not accurate at all. Certain low levels, like 200 ohms, for example. If you put a 1 SWR, it only reads 1.6. So I think I need to redesign amplifier drives the SWR detector for a higher level. But having fun playing around with that. So I'll only be in here for one round, but I'll be listening out using the Bluetooth receiver. And I hope everyone has a good week. And that's about it from here. All right. Bill, KD1SH. Over to you, Bill. This is A1LC.
Okay, Bud, very good. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone on the Lonely Guys Net. On this wonderful Sunday morning where the sun is sort of dimly shining down here in the northeast corner of Connecticut. KD1SH down here in the shack, not in the basement today. I was operating from the basement yesterday. Studio B, as I call it. B for basement. So we're in the regular shack today. And I think I could do with a little bit more audio. Give that a little bit of a tweak. Running the Ranger today, and not the BMW 5100 that has a problem. Seems like the driver transformer is not what it should be. Problem with a lot of old rigs like that, of course, is getting access to the original specs on exactly how that transformer should measure. But there is a guy, I forget his call now, but he has a nice webpage where he discusses his restoration of a BMW 5100D, and he did all out the primary and secondary of that driver transformer. And I pulled mine out yesterday, and it is not reading anything like his, and nothing like what I would expect a driver transformer to read. So I think there's a problem with my severe lack of low-end audio. I think it's the I am actively searching out a new one, and we'll see where that leads me. So hopefully the BMW will be back up on its feet again in a while. But until then, I'm happy with the Ranger. I could get a DX60 downstairs with functioning nicely as well. So no problem there. I will be at Southington on March 29th, and I will also be next Saturday, March 7th, I believe it is. Chicopee is the Mount Tom Radio Club. That's a really nice little event. So I will be there. My wife will be there, and as usual, I'll be wearing bright orange. That's the tradition instituted by my wife, who says that the idea behind the bright fluorescent orange is that you can keep an eye on me and see what I'm buying at the flea market. CRT rejuvenators. I remember those back when I was a kid, and I remember. I'm dating myself here, but I remember test patterns too. I remember using those test patterns to my old vacuum tube TVs. I learned my way around vacuum tube electronics back in those days. I was working on my parents' vacuum tube TVs. My old vacuum tube TV, and a great big heavy old Zenith vacuum tube TV, and I was always taking that thing apart and working on it. Even rewound the horizontal output transformer. Had wire all over it. All over my that little tuning ring on the some kind of red little pieces of watered up paper underneath it to get it to work properly. And I can remember putting elastic bands from the VHF tuner to the UHF tuner to hold them steady so they wouldn't wiggle. And then getting up with a couple of nips, adjusting the vertical hold because it would start working. So I remember those days, and I guess I've pretty thoroughly dated myself there. So, but anyway, that's it for me. I will not be in here for about 2. I've got to head over to the old homestead again, as I usually do on Sunday, for more painting and refurbishing over there. So that's it for me. I'm going out in the other room and see if my wife is done making her breakfast, and I'm going to make mine. 7-2, and good morning to everyone on the AM Carrier Net, and from here, we'll turn over to Steve. KB2 NQN. Good morning, KB106.
Okay, Bill. KD1SH, KB2N, QN from the People's Republic of Rockland. Good morning. The AM Carrier Net is rolling around. This morning. I just got rid of a bunch of CRT type television sets that were all over the house, and it's amazing how many you collect, especially when you have kids and each one has their own in the room, and they upgraded through the years, and I had the bad habit, which I guess is ham radio related, of being a Mac rat. I saved them all, but I recently took out a bunch, and I think I only have one left to bring down to where they collect them. One item. Many a household, sure. When I went to take that out, it was in like an entertainment center type enclosure. If you remember those, you could close the doors in the living room and open it up and pull it out if you needed to watch it, when you watched it. When I picked up the case, the plastic case literally disintegrated in my hands, and I'm talking about like little pieces of plastic, not big pieces. It was almost like I know plastic gets dry, but it literally disintegrated in my hands, and I only had the picture tube left to load up in my truck by the time I was finished, and I had to, of course, come back to the house and pick up all the trails, cars, boards, and all that stuff. One of them, yeah, it just jolted. Fortunately for me, I think I've been offered. On the Rangers getting their butts kicked the other night. Today, paybacks are a bitch, Steve, so I'm glad we didn't bet the other day. I would have been down at C-Note, and you would have been much, much happier. That's how it goes. That's both smart and
Good morning, everyone. And I got the little tornadoes here, so if I have to break away quick there, so. Yeah, watch your hands. Coughing to your elbow there, stuff like that. Morning, Joe. Good to talk to you this week there, and hope things are fine up your way. Yes, I will be at the Southampton Hamfest, Bob. I'm going to wear my cowboy hat. I haven't been wearing it in the last few years, and so sometimes people go, oh, I was looking for you. I didn't see you. Always buy the cowboy hat. So anyway, what else is new? Well, we're on the usual equipment here. Nothing else new. I had to go to my bank the other day, take care of something, and there was a new gentleman there. He stuck his hand to shake my hand, and I do this every time this time of the year. I go, flu and cold season, I put my elbow out. Let's knock elbows, not touch hands. You figure over in China and Japan, they don't shake hands, they bow. How people are getting sick there. But yeah, wash your hands, especially after coming back from supermarkets, Try to avoid the supermarkets because everybody's in there. And they have a hand wash there, so I carry a hand wash in my truck. I'm a first responder, so I have that stuff kind of there. I got the little one there, so. But we try to keep our hands clean, That's the best we can do right now, Should have invested in dust masks and stuff like that, because I guess they're all sold out. But anyway, so on that note, so I think Bob was talking about wrestling. What was it? WPIX radio station, television station. I think it was out of New Haven or something. It was WPIX, Channel 20. Used to broadcast wrestling there before it became the big WWF there on Saturdays. And I used to go up to Wallingford Barbell up there, Colony Road there, pick up equipment. I knew the guys up there. And they always had on a little black and white television up there. Channel 20. Bruno Sammartino and a bunch of other guys. And believe it or not, a lot of them lived up here in Connecticut, up here. So, okay, on that note, we're going to say 7th Street. I don't think it goes over to anybody else there. So we'll listen in if we got something to say, or the boys come down. They wanted to get on the radio this morning, but they slept late. I slept late, so we were rehearsing their part there for this morning. So we'll say 7th Street for now, and we'll pass it back over to Joe, because I don't think it goes to anybody else. Anyone else?
Yeah, very good, Rob. N1ALS. And the AM carrier net. This is N1VIV.
Well, very good all the way around. So I'm going to say N1.
I think you should have done a count, but let's see. 14 check-ins, so that's pretty reasonable. Let's see if we can add to that in any way. Any additional check-ins for the AM carrier net? Any stations anywhere wishing to check in here at the tail end of round 1? Please call now. This is on Ren, Wildwood. All right, well, nothing heard there, so no additional check-ins noted as of right now. So I'll make a few comments, and we'll take a crack at round 2. So, again, thanks for the nice turnout. Great to hear everybody in here. And conditions are pretty good. I certainly am starting to hear, conditions starting to drop off a bit. Bruce was a little bit lighter than when he originally checked in, but that's normal with him being there in Maryland and that. But no problem all the way around. And I guess as Steve noted with the time change, I'm not even oriented yet to when that's happening, but I guess it's soon. And when that happens, there'll be, it's not like some of the nets we had. When we used to start at 8:30 and it was the middle of July or middle of June, it was, a little more challenging with conditions. I don't think we're in that space right now. So, very good all the way around. Gee, Al, I didn't realize that you were, it sounds like maybe you were in the hospital. I didn't quite pick up on any details. You're home and you're doing okay, so it's grateful to hear that. And I suppose if they need to do more investigation, as How's the Raptors awesome dream? Whatever might be going on there. But I hope you're doing well, and glad to hear that you're home, because that's no fun to be under observation, so to speak. It's required sometimes, but no fun. That's for sure. Well, and I guess I was tuning in to everybody's comments with regard to the change in weather and the warm, snowless winter here. And I guess I think about 3 years ago, we have this long progression of what was it? It was like what do they call that? When all the cold air slips off the top of the world, so to speak. Polar vortex, is that it? I think so. And so when those conditions were in play, we had one winter where it was like every 3 days, another snowstorm, it was like exhausting, So we've had, just in the last 5 years, we've had our share. But maybe winters like this are just going to begin to be more common. Well, I guess kind of really wanted what Gary speculated. It's not so much what's happening now, but what might happen 50, 100, or 500 years from now. So I'm still kind of a pretty strong advocate of figuring out some ways to moderate our impact so that, I guess I don't necessarily feel that I don't subscribe to the skies falling, so to speak, but I do think it would probably just make sense for us to start moving towards some modest changes. I think back to back in the 70s, right, when everybody was driving a V8 Chevrolet or Ford or Chrysler. Cities like San Francisco, and Los Angeles, the smog was so bad that it just like layers a pall over the city, and I don't think that exists anymore. But it's much more the entirety of our world. Many other countries now reaching critical mass on economic development and doing what they can to raise up their status in the world. So it's a collective thing, I guess. The thing I would be concerned about is if 200 years from now, it's just really common for Cat 5 hurricanes to be roaming the globe at any point in time of the year. That doesn't sound good. So, your odds increase, even if they're, anyway, you get what I'm saying. Enough said. As I was listening to comments through the entirety of round one, I was working on a little power supply board that's in or a capacitor board in a power supply unit that I'm trying to revive. It's just a standard kind of old school, big, heavy MFJ 12-volt power supply. Something that you hook a normal HF radio up to. And I had it sitting out in Arizona for quite a few years because I used it out there a handful of times when I'd be out there visiting with my in-laws. And so it was sitting out there for me. Turned it on, and immediately it was like bang, bang, turned it right off. And sure enough, a couple of the electrolytic capacitors blew the tops right off. So it was sitting in an environment that was, very normal for day after day. 110 degrees in this garage or something, it's Arizona, and there's many months of the year where it's like really severe heat. So I have a feeling that might be it. I'm hoping. Well, trying to get the board back in, and I should be a few minutes away from maybe flipping the switch and seeing if there's any result. Pretty modest investment. I think I spent about $20 on the capacitor, so if it doesn't work out, I could continue troubleshooting, but we'll have to see. So, it looks like folks said there was a handful of folks were going to stay for round 2. So here's the rundown that I would have. Frank, W2SDR, then Greg, KUNMI. Steve usually doesn't stay. He didn't comment, but I guess we could leave a pause for him, or I could just kind of do controlled operations. And then it will be Al, W1VCK, Bruce, WX10, and I'm not sure, I can't remember if Rob said he was staying, but he might be staying as well. So let's send it on down the line, and I guess we'll listen for additional check-ins. Let me give a listen right now just in case. Any other stations wishing to join the AM carrier net, please call now. This is N1VIV. Okay, nothing heard. So I'm here to navigate as required. So feel free to flip it back to me, and I'll send it on to the next person on my list. But that was a general rundown of folks who I think might be staying. So it'd be OU Frank, W2SDR, and then it would go over to Greg, KUNMI, but I'm going to navigate as W2SDR. And round 2 to AM carrier net, N1VIV.
All right, Joe, N1VIV in the carrier net. W2SDR, obviously this will be my final. A lot of the stations have, a few stations have faded out here, so have left us, so due to conditions. But Joe, you took a little fade, but you came up strong towards the end, so fine and dandy. Well, as far as the warming stuff goes, I don't know. It's definitely getting warmer, and you know, it's like the good old days. You can't go back to the good old days and pick and choose what aspect of the good old days you want to go back to. You know, remember if you go back, remember you had polio, you have to have TB, you have to take all the good bad with the good too. And it's just like with the global warming. There's a lot of good things to it, but you can't just take the good and ignore the bad. And it's unfortunate that something like this has been politicized, but I guess everything is politicized today. People tend to look at everything through a lens or a prism of politics, which it's unfortunate that a lot of folks just can't trust science today because they believe that the scientists have a political agenda. It's very, very disheartening for for our society. But that's for another day. Rob, good hearing you again this morning. I'm on ALF, a late check-in. And I'll say 7-3. I'll make it quick here. I got to get my day started, get underway here. Enjoyed it here this morning on the AM carrier net as always. Over to you, Greg, and 7-3 all the way around. KE1MI, W2SDR. 7-3, everybody. KE1MI. Good morning again, everybody. Working in the position I am at now, working for the state and dealing with snow all the time. I see more rain now developing in the time here than in so a lot of ice, a lot of freezing rain, which really kind of makes it tough on the back road. Lots of changes in 40 years. But I didn't see the political agenda today. And the climate's been warm and everything. It's a veritable wasteland here at one time. Anyway, we hold it up. And then they left. I guess I'll take 17. Okay, thanks for running the net. I'm sure that somebody will fill in when somebody can so for times that you can't be around. Go ahead.
Yeah, very good, Greg. KUNMI. Zen 1BIV. Yeah, Steve usually listens out, but I didn't hear him comment. Well, maybe he did. I might have missed it. I'm trying to pay closer attention, but I may have missed that. He was this one. Yeah, he almost always listens out to the first round, so if you are listening, for joining us. Let's see, Gary said he had to jump out. I've got a check mark next to me. So go over to Al for round 2 comments. From what I can see, it looks like it was he's still here. And then it would go over to Rob and Renee LF if he's lingering. So, I'll send it down to you. W1VTP. Or up to you, rather, I guess, figuratively. W1VTP. This is N1VIV.
Okay. Just as over here. At least he's not over 89 foot. Yes, to be done, I guess. I can give another one. I don't think that's football citizen. What a few remarks here. I was going to duplicate. Forgive me if I've got to come up with a better system. I know if I said what I said or whatever. What my sticker so my set modulation in the car. And I don't know, Frank, if you're still there, but what a tremendous piece of equipment that LT700 is. I use it every single day. So, imagine you talk me into the 700. That's a telephone 700, LT700. Great, I just say 2 LT100s and 1 LT700. Great machine. Anyway, Jim on the Buick, exactly the transmission on that's the Dynaflow, I assume. And was there a way for that as I drive let up on the gas pedal and it would direct connect? Or was that just associated with the Chrysler transmission? I forget what they call it. We all had to need transmissions. The best one, of course, was General Motors came out with the Hydromatic. That was the standard for all automatic transmissions that we do now. And the first one possession he did, and it went out in the rain with Frank reverse. And Frank got engaged in the fall and engaged from the car position under that way. That's 9 years ago. Now the TV repairs, each one of the modern flat-screen TV doesn't have that whole industry is gone. I mean, it's, they have a trap out now, you just go and buy another one. They never have a trap out. I've got the same flat screen here since I moved into the channel. Many, many hours spent with that. Nice and yeah, the test that I got one of those. Yep. But we didn't have a TV. When I was home, quote unquote, we did not have a television. But I guess you could generate that with the right filter. And GTH, 82 years old. I'm coming up to GTH. It's a 9, 8, 82. tires in it or whatever. I have the back room that I get to deploy because it's new. I have to see the rotor cable. So if anybody has some rotor cables that they're trying to get rid of, I'm willing to part with it at a reasonable price. I'm always, I prefer it to be the kind that you can bury in the ground, which is not probably a common thing because who puts a rotor cable on the ground? You put it up on your roof. But be that as it may, that's what I had the need for. So that's all I have, guys. It was really great. Good morning. Yes, the signals have been getting reflected by the D-layer absorption, or DRAP as the scientists call it. And everybody is going down, but not out. Copy everybody just fine here. Fortunately, my noise that I have typically, this part of the band is not around. It's gone off someplace else. So that's it. 7-3 all. I'll be listening out. WX10 Bruce. When are you moving up north? W1 the VTP. WX10.
I imagine Bruce would be hearing you. WX10. This is N1VIV.
Nothing heard?
No, nothing heard here as well. So, if I look at moving down the list here, the only person I had with a question mark was Rob. Let's see if Rob's still there. N1ALF. This is N1VIV. Well, nothing heard. So, let's give a listen just in case any other additional check-in. Before we slide into the post-net mode, any other stations anywhere, please call now. Okay. Well, seems like we're in decent shape. I guess, the difference between, what we had today, which is about 14 check-ins and a pretty relaxed conversational format versus having 19 or 20 or 21 check-ins. That's going to would add another 30 minutes to the in the listening out mode, don't hesitate. Life and things of that nature. I certainly had times where I had some symptoms, but I've been too stressed tests over the past 15 years. Well, when you're original, some of the symptoms are going to be cautious, and it's always better to know than not know about some issue like that. So, that's a good thing. So, I'm glad that they told you everything you need to know right there. Which is great. And
now they have a baseline too, so it's they can tell them track. Well, I'm trying to get one last little nut that holds down the power supply leads on this capacitor board. There's not a lot of space. Power supply. If I can get that on and get it. But I just felt if I could resurrect something that would be a good thing to have around if I ever, if I'm running a backup transceiver or something like that. Which I have a Kenwood TS140. And actually I have an Icon 735 that I'm getting ready to sell. I'm going to try to replace the memory battery this week and sell that, and I'm going to continue to do some reconfiguring and see if I can get into a bigger, better amplifier. That's the plan. So, I'm not sure if Frank, if you from maybe Greg or Al, I'll leave it to folks to offer whatever final comments they like and whatever information they choose. But I think I'm just going to listen out, go make a second cup of coffee, and hang out with the family. So I'll be listening here for maybe 10 minutes while I try to get this nut torqued down, and if folks want to make comments, I don't know, Frank, if you're still there, Greg or Al, feel free. So, this is N1VIV closing the official term of the AM carrier net and listening around for any post-net comments. This is N1VIV.
then use your mod monitor, NAV program. You just input the carrier to set modulation on positive peaks, and really gives you the accurate peak end of the power readings. Congratulations on that decision. That's a wise choice in my view. Start right off in cautious. You'll never know if you've got a problem. Do a little homework ahead of time. And A, have a good, reasonably accurate power meter for average readings. And B, have Steve's modulation monitor. Right now I'm showing about 110% on the positive peaks. And given the carrier that I have, it's about 342 watts. That's got to come out to. I just got the math right here available, but I don't want to distract from your conversation here. Anyway, yeah, that's a good choice, and it's probably more economical if you don't have any plans of going to other. Now, I say go to other bands. You have the choice of the 150, 80, or the 80, 40. And the other sub-choice under that is 20 there's which one does he have? Oops, I think he has or if there's a back order on one or the other, then you can decide which one to do. Probably 20 now. In the bottom, like 24, 25. There's three classes. 150 is pretty damn good.
Canada.
down the road, I could go with different audio processing. You know, I know Janice, maybe runs different processing, at least the Corsair. Different kinds of processing and whatnot. For the DIY rig, so, you know, we'll probably be down the road. They're small.
I've done that. I've got this track. You may have seen it on your business.
they will.